What's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Brought to you by Rocks where rock and metal thrives. Happy Thursday, everybody. Today is January 28th. Yeah, we're getting to the end of January. Holy moly. And this week, my lord, do we have one hell of an episode for you. So, again, thank you to Brian from MVK Music Group and MVK Apparel, where getting us connected with these bands has been fantastic. And we have a band out of Seattle where this one is a very interesting episode where we go in deep with MTR Project, going deep with Martin Thomas Reed alongside his EP, which details everything that he went through going through life and getting from living on the streets and addicted to heroin to where he is today. We also talk with Dave Reese, the bassist from the band as well. And not only talk about the music, we also talk about what it's like to be up on stage and just having to go with the flow and how sometimes being able to adjust and work on the fly with mistakes and being able to adjust to them right has potential to be even better than making a perfect show. And also talk about saving our stages as well. So we go in deep with a lot of this stuff. Plus, one thing you do have to say is there are times during the podcast where they do some freeze frames because of Wi-Fi connective issues. But trust me, when I say that sometimes when you're shooting live and you're on the stage live and you got to adjust on the fly, well, we do just that. So be sure and be ready for that. So are you guys ready? So please welcome MTR Project out of Seattle. Are you ready? Let's go! Yow! Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. You all guys always know that I say, hey, I've got another special episode for you today. And, well, it's true. I always do. So, yeah, special episode time. Woohoo! So, coming all the way from Seattle, Washington, all the way on the west coast of the United States, which is way far away from me over here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But, hey, that's the great thing about this kind of podcast. I get to see music and bring you guys music from all around the country and all around the world. So, please welcome Martin and Dave from the MTR Project. So, guys, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Hey, great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thanks for being on, guys. How's everything going over in Seattle during this day and age of the wackiness that is, well, end of 2020, beginning of 2021?
That's pretty good. We had a rehearsal last night, so we got to jam for about 4 hours. We're writing the second half of our upcoming album, so we had a great night. How about you, Mark? Martin's voice is still good, so that's good.
Yeah, I was actually just saying that to him a minute ago. I was like, man, I'm ready to go again. And I was kind of wondering how it would be not really having the opportunity to get together and rehearse as much as we like to. But yeah, I'm ready to go again. So
man, already ready to go again. Then you must be taking great care of your voice at that point too, just to make sure that it is ready to go at any given moment.
Yeah. And it's a constant progression too. Is I quit smoking that damn vape thing that I was doing for years, right? And so that's kind of opened up my vocals again.
Yeah,
quite a bit. Seems like.
That is a good thing because I know a bunch of people, have even a bunch of friends of mine as well, that are constantly doing some kind of sort of smoking of, whether it's smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, whatever it might be. And it's like over time you can just kind of start hearing a little bit more of the scratchiness and roughness in their vocal cords. And it's if none of them are any kind of singers or anything, but if they were, I could definitely see that being something that would be a hindrance on them going forward.
Absolute.
Can't work for everyone like it did David Lee Roth.
Oh God, I can't. I'll say, but take a look at David Lee Roth physically from like when 1984 came out till now. I mean, the transition, it literally looks like in my opinion, it's like somewhat like the skin just like completely like wrinkled on him, and someone like pulled it back real tight. Oh, darn, I think we got the connection to cut out again. Uh-oh, Spadudios. Let's see if we can get it back real quick. Otherwise, we'll see what happens. Give it like another 30 seconds. I just see Dave's smiling face just going nuts. Oh, darn it.
It never does this.
It's our internet connection. We apologize.
It's okay. You guys aren't the only ones I've had connection problems with. Usually during that like 20-25 seconds, I'm usually just doing something ridiculous. I was basically commenting the whole time on, if you guys are watching the YouTube video of this, taking a look at Dave's face, because it was just like,
I got my IT guy on it. We got it now.
Alrighty, sounds good. But like I was saying, like again, like take a look at David Lee Roth from like when 1984 came out, watch a video for Jump versus watching him when he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, I think 2 years ago, or just any video of him recently. It is just the complete difference in physical appearance. And of course that comes with age, but also all the other stuff that comes along that he did and all the side effects from that.
Yeah, he took a flamethrower to it for sure. No doubt about it.
That is definitely one way to put it. So as we really jump into this podcast, I want you guys to introduce yourselves to the audience in the classic way that I ask everyone to introduce themselves. So the first two questions of this are easy. Last one is the hardest one, but it's always my favorite. So I want you guys to introduce yourself with the easy parts, what your name is and what you do in the band. However, the third part is the one that's going to throw you guys off. I want to know, we're going to go all like intro to high school, intro to college, welcome week kind of stuff. I want to know a little fun fact about yourself. However, I always like to know like these wacky stories, these wacky facts, whatever it might be. On one of the previous episodes I had, someone brought up that they were like a good recorder player at one point, and now in their deathcore band, they're going to include like some kind of weird...
away. Once you can play the recorder, that's good for life.
I know. I even got a picture from the band a couple days ago where they just like, hey, guess what actually showed up at our little studio. I'm like, well, what is it? They take a picture. They literally ordered a recorder during the interview and then sent me a picture a couple days later that they actually got. I'm just like, yes.
That's awesome.
So I'll let you guys take it away, whichever one of you wants to start.
Yeah, Martin Reed. I'm the vocalist and rhythm, and I play some of the more simple lead guitar work on the album.
And I'm Dave Reese. I'm the bass player, and that's what I do. I just play bass. I drive Martin around a lot too. I'm his chauffeur.
Well, I mean, then Martin, you can definitely say you're living more of that rock star lifestyle. You've got your own chauffeur driving you around.
It's an Escalade too. He does all right.
Oh.
Heated seats, man.
I was gonna say it's probably better than me having to drive my own stuff around in an 06 Subaru Legacy. I do have them heated seats though, so it is very nice.
Subaru is good for Milwaukee.
It is, even though I probably got maybe 6-7 inches lift off the ground. Like it is super duper low to the ground. I'm not kidding you, but a 4-wheel drive when it's snowing outside, I'm still seeing people stuck, and there's me just sliding in the corner, just
That's what I'm talking about. That's winning right there.
Oh God, yeah. I still remember. God, this had to be 10 years ago at this point. But I just started driving at this point, but we got maybe 24 to 36 inches of snow dumped on us overnight. It was one of the biggest snowstorms I've ever seen, and over the course of the day, people were just trying to clear out the walks and clear out their driveways of snow. So me, my brother, and my dad, we were all trying to do my parents' house because we were both in high school at that time. And there were some people that were trying to drive and take people places, and these big super duty trucks, and they were getting stuck right in the middle of our intersection. And they're asking us for help, and we're like, well, we got to finish this up here first. Why don't you help us? Why are you driving in this right now?
Right, yeah.
And then one of our neighbors
gave a really fun snow story, but we'll keep that off the air.
We started the band about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, and the things I've learned from Martin definitely could go in a book.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got stories galore.
It would seem.
I'll say because when I was told about you guys from Brian from MVK Music, and he was telling me that you had this huge backstory regarding what you went through over the past couple of years that really led into the release of the MTR Project EP and all the stories that were behind that as well. I really wanted to try and know more about that because when I was listening to the EP, one thing I always like to do and listen to music, especially more in a rock and metal sense, is hear how the instrumentals are formed because they really speak to the emotion that these experiences really bring out to it. A lot of people listen to music because it gives this tangible explanation to an experience or an emotion that is incredibly hard to actually tell or process. So there are a lot of people, I'll use a great example of this. When Falling in Reverse released Popular Monster, there were so many people that, did I lose you guys again? Yeah, I think I lost them again. Oh, well, should I just dance on screen Darn it. Alrighty, we'll see if we can get them back. Otherwise, we might have to just do a little bit of a redo on something like this. We'll see what happens otherwise. Did I get you guys back?
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
Alrighty, because like what I was saying was like again with the music, how it gives a tangible explanation to an emotion or a feeling that's intangible. A good example of that was "Popular Monster" by Falling in Reverse, where a lot of people were talking about how it felt to really go through something where they felt like everybody was kind of against them, and it was just kind of the depression taking over, and everyone telling them, "Oh, you'll get past this, you'll get past this. It's just a stage, it's just a phase," and just trying to go through that. It really spoke to them. So I would like to kind of know some of the backstory, so that when I listen to the music, I tried to find out as much as I could. But really listening to music, trying to pick up on certain things, listen to the lyrics, really understand what the music was telling me, and like tell me about the experience that you went through, the lead up to the MTR project and the lead up into this EP.
Yeah, the experiences are all kind of laid out in the we made a video for Footsteps of the Painted One, and I tried to kind of represent a day of like what it was like for me to wake up every day out there and have to go out and grind. I was a street performer. I was addicted to heroin pretty heavily for about 10 years on the streets of Tacoma and Seattle, and yeah, it was like I played my music, and my music was what would fuel my habit, and my habit it was like a real toxic relationship that developed, and then I got an opportunity to get clean and sober. A man by the name of Chris Cote decided that he would invest quite a bit of money into getting me into a good clean and sober house, and I did a 3-month intensive inpatient, and then I did a 3-month like graduation house type of deal, right? And that was really cool. It was the first time that I'd seen any kind of light in my life besides the impending doom of addiction. That I was at the lowest tier of addiction. It took everything from me. Physical appearance was starting to dwindle, and so I started losing that. And I once I got clean, I started writing it. I just started writing it all down, and started playing because I did a lot of covers. Like that's what I would play, is mostly covers. I would come up with these really cool riffs that I liked while I was out there, but I would never have any pen or paper or any way to record anything. Mm-hmm. So all these songs were always changing, but the melodies would be similar, right? And so finally I was, in this place where I was like, well, I've got all these songs that I was kind of messing with out there, and I started putting them down on paper, and they started coming to life, right? And that's when the real healing started. And so I started getting my band together, and I formed. There was a different. It went by a different name and a different lineup. The project that you guys are hearing, besides one song, Opposing Voices, was purely MTR Project. We all came together, and that's what is going to be more with what you guys are going to be hearing from us as we move forward, is that kind of a style. Because everything, all the other songs besides The Only Real Peace is Death, which is actually just instrumentally Andy Beach, that's his song.
The guitar player, our guitar player,
that's right. And he's amazing. But the rest of them were written about that, and then we came together with a need to do more. We were like, "Crap, we need one more song," and
that's where Opposing Voices came from. But Martin brought all these songs to the project. I'd heard him play with another band he played several of those songs, and so we kind of tried to take it back to what his busking experience was in the streets, and how he was arranging things and his vocal arrangements, and tried to play off of that emotion in the songs. But Martin brought all those in, and it was just him strumming acoustic guitar and singing, and we built the rest around it.
Totally understandable. And when listening to the EP as well, going through all 6 songs that are on there, even including with The Only Real Peace is Death being that more instrumental transition piece and song number 5 on the 6-song EP, one thing I do have to applaud you guys in terms of when I was listening to it was just the way everything was ordered in terms of the song list from 1 to 6, because it was very similar to, if for everyone that is listening to the podcast and knows the kind of music that I like, it was very similar to listening to the style of like the Ghost Inside's self-titled album, which was in 2020, where they had gone through that horrible bus crash. And what they ended up doing was they ended up taking from the moment that bus crash happened from the first song, and they basically detailed in song every step of the way what they went through in terms of trying to get through the emotion of that, trying to heal and recover, and then kind of start making more music, get back together, figure it out, get back to play live, and then the final song being the culmination of all of that. It was very similar here with your EP as well, because it felt like it started out at that point of, you know, being addicted to heroin, being on the streets, to the point where all of a sudden, once you get to I'm Ready, it felt like it created more of this upbeat feel, a little bit more prominent style of a drumming feel. So it was a little bit more, it kind of had this lighter flair to it, and it kind of felt like there was like a true happiness, a true return. Did we lose him again? Man, I keep losing these guys every couple of minutes. This is not the best thing in the world. Uh-oh, Spadudios. Let's see if I can get him back real quick. Might be something on my end. I hope not. Let's see. Might have to cancel that out.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You were just saying a little bit more prominent style of a drum beat.
Yeah, and what ends up feeling like, it feels like there's like a real like emergence from the darkness here with that more prominent style drum beat, a real feel of happiness coming through there. So when it comes from the top to the bottom, really going through that journey through the playlist of the song or the EP, that was something that I really did enjoy, because again, it really went through each of those pieces. However, one other thing that I really do want to ask, because as you guys were saying, this really came from Martin, from what you were writing prominently before everyone got together, and really kind of picking up the pieces of what you're writing during that time, kind of instead of just like you said, you didn't have any way to record them, so you had them all written down on paper and little things would change. One thing that I really got from a bass in that style that you were playing with was a real like 90s grunge feel, just the way the darkness of the sound felt. So of course, my question is, was that something that you were influenced by, especially, of course, being from Seattle, being really noticeable in that 90s grunge scene?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, people, when Chris Cornell was still with us, they would search for me thinking that I was him, like when I was playing downtown.
Martin be singing on the streets, and people would think it was Chris Cornell, and they'd come from blocks away.
And then would be shocked when they'd see me, because I'm only 5'6", man. I'm short, little guy. So I mean, and it was because that was the stuff I like to sing. It was when I was out there singing "I Am the Highway," I was singing to people saying, "Whatever you guys think I am, I'm bigger than that, man. You guys see me as this little doormat right now, and there's a lot of people treated me that way. You know, that's human nature. I don't hold that against people. It just sucks." Yeah. This is the way it was, right?
And I was playing around Seattle in the 80s and 90s, so that was my scene. I played, my first band ever was Malfunction. Andy Wood was the lead singer. I played bass, and I eventually left that band and gave Andy my bass, and so I did the world a little favor there. But but yeah, so that was all. You know, I practiced next to Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and back in the old days. So that was kind of the sound where I grew up. That was my style.
So I guess it really does fit between the two guys, where you have Martin, who has more of this just like connection there with the voice, and a little bit more of that emotional feel to it that really fit better within that grunge setting, especially when you're listening to guys like Chris Cornell. And then with you, Dave, where it's just you basically had that background playing, and that it's kind of the marriage of what's new and what was prominent at the height of the whole entire scene.
You hit it on the head. That's exactly when we didn't know what it was going to sound like when we got together, but right off the bat, it had that sound. And yeah, we were like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And yeah, even the new stuff we're writing still has that vibe to it.
Well, honestly, in my opinion, that's got to be the best way to go about it, due to the fact that you guys weren't trying to force a certain style down each other's throats or force a certain style into your music. You were just going to let it happen naturally. And of course, coming from a music fan's perspective, when we hear something that feels like it's forced, we're going to easily be able to tell. When you hear something that feels a lot more natural, it feels a lot more smooth in terms of just transition from one section to the other, or from one piece to the other, we're going to be able to tell that. We're going to be able to tell that this came naturally, that this wasn't forced. And I totally have to agree with you that this is like kind of like the perfect fitting between the two of you guys, because nothing really felt forced on this EP.
That's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, our drummer, Played with a guy that's pretty famous around here named Sean Smith and Andy Wood's brother, Kevin Wood. He was in a band called All Hail the Crown, and they kind of had more of a metal grunge sound. And then our guitar player, Andy Beach, he was the guy that built all Prince's guitars. He's a great luthier. He owns the Hatry guitars, but he was Zakk Wylde's guitar tech for several tours. So he comes from that. He's more of a metal guy, has the 80s and 90s metal down. And so that was kind of an interesting mix in with Martin and I.
Mm-hmm. But when you kind of let that mix just naturally settle in, I mean, he's like, especially for someone like Andy, he's going to end up picking up on some more of those grunge tendencies that you guys have. However, you're going to end up picking up on some slighter, those more like 80s metal tendencies that he has. And what's going to end up happening is that's going to end up giving you that unique sound that you guys are going to end up having at your core, because then you're not going to end up sounding like, oh, this band sounds like another Soundgarden or another Nirvana, or sounds like another, you know, whatever else he was working on with Zakk Wylde, who knows, but whatever else was coming up in those bands that he was really working with along that time as well. So it's very possible for something like that to happen, but if you let that naturally happen, of course you guys are going to have different styles. However, those different styles can bring up little subtleties within your music that make them more unique, because you might be working in something that's specifically just purely sounds grunge. However, there's a little tweak here that someone like Andy would end up making for a little transition that's a little bit more in that 80s style, which, of course, on paper would seem like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. Then you hear it and you're just like, okay, we got to include this.
Yeah. Well, I think one of our favorite things is to hear when people tell us who we sound like. Yeah. Because we get this huge range of people that they think. A lot of people are, well, the last one we got was Soundgarden, mixed between Soundgarden and Black Label Society. And that was even before they knew the Zakk Wylde connection. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Sometimes it's a lot of my friends think we sound in the Alice in Chains with a Van Halen guitar. I've heard all kinds of things of what we sound like. No one said the Partridge Family yet, but other than that.
That's because they don't know.
Oh, shit, did we lose him again? Yeah, I think we lost him again. I apologize to you guys. It's just the internet connection. I'm not sure exactly what's going on this end. I know we've had this happen once before with Joey with Outlier. That's why we had to restart that one point. We'll see when we can get him back. We'll see, however... Man, if I had ads, this would be the perfect time to put him in.
There we are.
Yeah. All right, you guys back? Okay. Hopefully it doesn't cut out again, but... I don't have any like rabbit's foot to like wish upon to make that.
Right. I keep waving mine. It's not working.
I know, darn it. But as you were saying, because you guys are talking about like how different people are always saying like, oh, you sound like this, you sound like this, you sound like this, but no one said the Partridge Family. Yeah. I'm not necessarily sure you want to sound like the Partridge Family at this given moment. I'm really not sure if there's.
Well, they did have the Wrecking Crew backing them up, so Joe Osborne was a good bass player. I'll take that. But yeah, he's not. He's kind of David Cassidy, a little bit.
I'll say just a little bit, but then I'm pretty sure if you started sounding like the Partridge Family, I'm pretty sure that you end up playing a live show once live shows come back, hopefully this year. Yeah. But you'd end up having people like only over the age of 60 at your shows.
At least they have money to buy us beer then. Not Martin, but I'll take it.
Hey, I mean... That's never a bad way to look at it, I guess. I'll say, but once we get back to the live shows as well, I mean, it's going to be those overpriced beers again, and like the first one you buy is going to taste so good. Then you're going to buy that second one.
I can't wait to sit on a bar stool and watch bands, live music. I'm itching to get back to that.
Yeah, me too.
Like they say, you don't know how much you miss and what you had until it's completely gone, and we're missing it.
Yeah, I've spoken about this a number of times on the podcast as well, where from my perspective, I'm missing it entirely because I think last year I had to go to not last year, I mean 2020, last year's 2020, 2019, I keep thinking it's still 2020. Right. But like in 2019.
Let that go.
I know. I think I went to something like 42 shows or something like that. And it was just a blast going. It felt like every weekend I was going to see a show here in Milwaukee. I was either going down to Chicago, and it was a blast. Sure, my body got beat the hell up from it because I'm always going to see like punk rock shows or metalcore shows, just having a blast. And once I see a mosh pit form, let me tell you, there is no way in hell you're gonna keep me away from it. But now it's been almost a year. It's been almost a year since like my last like really like full on show that I saw. And what I mean by full on show, like act like full on like music venue concert, all kind of thing, over 1,000 people, and that was for Word Alive, Escape the Fate, and Falling in Reverse. And that one I almost broke my nose during. I haven't had like a show that big or that crazy of a pit since. And I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, I'm all healed up now. I'm ready to go. Yeah. Where the hell is this?
Yeah, we missed it a lot. We had one show together, and then we had got a nice buzz around Seattle after our show, and I had booked about 8 really good stages to play over the summer. And just to watch all those gigs disappear was heartbreaking. And what we do best is play live, so it's killing us. But that's how our record got done. We couldn't do anything else, so we said, let's go into the studio and get something done. And so at least we got something out of 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that end up having that same mentality as you as well, where, yeah, you can't play live right now. So what are you going to do? And to continue to keep churning the wheels, keep making sure that you're going to end up staying relevant once this whole entire thing ends and once live music comes back. Everyone's making music because what are they supposed to do now? I mean, there's plenty of people doing other things, but almost every single band, especially during the time when pandemic started till now, has had to have at least come up with, I would say, at least 3 songs at this point.
I would hope so.
And that's a real low bar right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Martin's got more creative. He's got a ton of time, so he's been coming up with ideas. And then Andy Beach, our guitar player, came up with a bunch last night that we're kind of melding together into MTR Project. Yeah. So it was pretty exciting. We got 6 new songs down last night, so. That was a huge night. We've been missing each other for sure. Music just was flowing.
And when the music is flowing, just do not stop it, man. I mean, just keep rolling with it, because that's when the magic really happens. Because if you're going to try and pick it up at a different point, your mindset's going to be completely different. You might not necessarily be as like zoned in on exactly what feeling you're trying to capture, what emotion you're trying to articulate with, and then it could get completely lost. So if you're really focused on something, it's kind of like, if you're working on a major project and all of a sudden it's like, okay, maybe I should go to bed. No, give me 1 more hour because I need to be stuck. I'm focusing on this. I am not losing this time. No. Stay focused on it. If you got to sleep an extra hour the next day, if you lose an hour of sleep, maybe drink some coffee or something. Or if you're like me, just wake up and just say, shit, here we go again.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we went till almost midnight, and then we started at about 8. So
yeah, we had a good 4-hour session, and I worked for the Seattle Seahawks. I produced their TV shows, so it was a long day of programming. Not great stuff after their loss to the Rams, but I was pretty burned out, and I showed up, and these guys were fired up, ready to go, and I just jumped in. I was the one going, let's keep playing. I just got here, it seems like, and they're like, well, it's been 4 hours. So, yeah, it was a spectacular night.
I'll say, and then just the fact that those guys had to be continually playing and just really working on something, you could feel that energy, Dave, especially after having to do all the production stuff for the Seahawks, that had to give you a lot of energy going forward. Like, that's just basically getting a second wind at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's another break in the station. I feel like if I could do ads right now, this would be the perfect time to do them. Just like, this episode is brought to you by myself. And MSOTD rocks. Yeah. Okay, I think I totally got an idea.
There he is.
All right. I swear, like it's like a 15-second break in between. I'm just doing like these little like mini what would be ad reads if I had full advertisement. So I'm just doing like I'm just plugging my stuff and also plugging like just random stuff as well. Like sponsoring the podcast today is like Pete's Lampshades. You need shades. Pete's Lampshades.
Yeah. You got Pete's as a sponsor? That's fantastic.
I don't even know if they're a thing. I just came up with them on the spot. If they are, then hey, free press, Pete. But I was going to say, because what Dave, like you had mentioned earlier, talking about live shows, you guys have played once before the whole pandemic hit, and you were really generating a lot of buzz around Seattle during that time. Now with live shows completely gone, that slate completely wiped clean for you guys. One major question I have to ask you is this. Since that time, how have you helped maintain the buzz around the MTR Project since the pandemic started? Due to the fact that, yeah, everyone's lost live shows, but everyone's trying to fight to make sure that they not only stay relevant, like come the time live music returns. So that
Right.
I know you guys are working on a new album. You've got the EP out, which is fantastic. However, what have you been continuing to do from that moment when everything got shut down till now to make sure that MTR Project stays relevant?
Man, just keep push. I'd probably talk to maybe and for a while I started realizing that the only way I was going to get this music out there is if I tell people about it, right? And that goes for and I realized that that could go for anybody, because this is I haven't really met anybody that says they think the music sucks or whatever. Some people might say that it's not their style, but so I'm just always trying to figure out which people it is their style, so I send it to like maybe 100 people a day in Messenger.
Yeah, Martin's marketing us via Messenger every day.
Yeah.
It's we watch Spotify followers go up and we're like, how is this happening with nothing going on? And then it's all Martin. He talks to everybody.
I try not to look at their credentials, because sometimes they scare me. I'm like, son of a bitch. Should I be sending it to this guy? Well, yeah. Yeah. But I'm trying to. I mean, there is no real rhyme or reason. Nobody really has the right way to do it right now. But I'll tell you what, the best way to do it is what you're doing for us right now. This is honestly the best way to help a band stay relevant, is what you do for us, and you give us a platform and an opportunity to make a face-to-face connection with our fans. So this is by far the most helpful.
Well, thank you very much. And one thing I do have to also add to that is when you're talking about going on like Facebook Messenger and basically guerrilla marketing your album or your music by just blasting it at people. I totally can understand that as well. And even from my standpoint, I've actually gotten a couple of bands on the podcast that way, because I just looked on Facebook and have randomly been friends with members of different bands. And I thought at points, what happens if I just message them just to tell them what I do and just see what happens? And that's how I ended up getting for my 101st episode. That's how I ended up with Awake at Last on the podcast. That's how I'm ending up with Modern Day Escape on the podcast. I even looked at some of the other ones. I'm like, I could definitely try some of these things just to see what happens. And one thing I've always thought about is the best thing they can say if you ask them like, hey, can you check out some of our music? Hey, do you want to be on the podcast? The best thing they can say is yes. The second best thing they can say is no, because then you know the answer and you can go to the next one. You're not going to have to continually fight with it. It's just like, okay, do you want to be on the podcast? No, I really don't want to. Okay, go to the next one. It's like, hey, you want to check out some of our music? No, thanks. Okay, go to the next one. It just keeps going, and just continually to not think of it as a form of rejection, but as just okay, next one, just kind of like a weird checklist thing in a way.
Well, it's kind of nice that you actually study the music, listen to it, come with an opinion, come with analysis to it, a critique that is yours uniquely, but it's so informed. I mean, I'm loving everything you're saying about our music. You're hitting things right on. So, yeah, everyone should be on your podcast.
Yeah, man. I agree. I've been, and I'm not just saying this. That's what he does for a living, man. He's got Emmy awards on his banister, 2 of them. He's a producer for award-winning sports broadcasts, and so when he says that you're a good podcast broadcaster, you're darn good, man. And we appreciate it. I mean,
big time.
I keep getting hair in my mouth, yummy. But it makes it real, man. It doesn't. It right here for the fans, for the bands that are turning down podcasts. I get it. It feels uncomfortable at first. You guys, you gotta get break the ice and realize we're just having conversation, but it's gonna definitely help keep you relevant, man, and it's fun.
Yeah, then this is what we have in 2021 right now.
Yeah,
and it's something that I've never done before, but we're in.
Yeah, I mean,
this is great. I'm getting to talk to people all over the country. I'm hearing more things that Martin says that I didn't know about. It's
And it looks like we might have lost them again. So yeah, Pete's lampshades, everybody. Oh dear God, I'm gonna keep going with the Pete's lampshades up. But yeah, quickly, just a little promo thing. Check out the YouTube channel as well, the other videos as well, because we've also got the Kevin Figures Out series. That's a great series. So look at for bands that I really don't know that much about. You can kind of tell if I got hit on the. You guys there?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, because if it was frozen, I did a little quick promo for the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Just trying to fit that right in there. It's kind of funny, but wow. What I was first thing, what you guys are saying about the podcast. First off, thank you very much, and second off, yeah. Because one thing I always do is because I've got a bunch for recording dates. I've got a bunch from the time I'm recording with you till the following week. I got like 5 or 6 I have to do. One thing I always do is I try and go through a little bit of the background, a little bit of the information about the band, but then I always want to go through the music and really go in depth with at least one song, or like with what I did with the MTR Project with you guys was try and go through the whole EP as well, just because if I'm gonna have you guys in the podcast and I want to have it be more of a conversation about your music and just see what happens, I don't want to come in here with someone else's opinions. I don't want to come in here without knowing what your music sounds like. I want to actually know what it sounds like so that when we're talking about it and when we're really bringing it back to you guys, I can exactly tell you what's going on. And that's what really is the best part about this. And shit, did I lose him again? Alrighty, well, back to weird promo time. Wait, did I get you guys again?
Yes, you did. He just went to do a little a check on the. We're running on a household Wi-Fi right now, so sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. Honestly, even though it's kind of like there's been some cutouts here and there, one thing we'll say about this one is it makes this episode even more realistic. It makes it really, really real, because how many stories have we heard about people like all of a sudden you're on Zoom calls and it's just like
every time.
Yeah, it happens, and plus it kind of also keeps me on my toes as well, because I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? Alright, now I got to do some weird little promo thing for cover up a little 15 seconds. But where I was
yeah, that's when you came back on and were saying that's what you were doing. More kudos to you on your professionalism, man.
But going back where I was saying, kind of really going through the music, it's if I'm going to be talking about your music with you, I want to come with my opinions and want to come with my thoughts on it and really listen to it. There have been times where I've had bands in the podcast where they've sent me their music. There's one specifically, a band from Italy. They're more of an alternative rock band, and that's not really my style. And I honestly told them, here's what I think about your music. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of it. However, every time I said that in a certain context, I always give them more context behind myself so you could see this was something that was coming from where my mindset lies, where my tastes lie. But I never was going to try and completely put them down on their music, because there's going to be people that are going to like that kind of music. However, I found another song from theirs that I did like, and I want to talk about that one as well. They came out with one at the end of 2020, and they sent it to me to see what I thought about it, because they knew I wasn't going to sugarcoat anything, and I didn't. Yeah. And again, it was there's certain things I didn't like. However, I told them all the reasons why and where my mind was going with it. It's I thought this could have been done, but then again, remember, I love metalcore, punk rock, hard rock, so I'm more accustomed to something like that. But I'm going to take time and really dive deep into this stuff, because I'll put it this way. You guys made the music. You guys are trying to tell us something. You're trying to tell us a story. You're trying to show us a feeling or show us a emotion. So why just look at that at the surface level? Why not go deeper into it?
Right. Yeah. That's a good point, man.
Yeah, well, I've been arguing about music my whole life with people. So it's now that it's my music, it doesn't feel like a bad thing discussing what you like, what you don't like, what it meant to you, what it means to us. I think that's part of the natural process of art. Is it means something different to everybody, and sometimes meaning something different means you might not like it. I don't necessarily take offense to that by any means.
No, and it's just the way that the world is today, especially on social media, where it seems like if you don't like something that some people like, it's just everyone's going to take it personal and kind of just come after you about it. Because I still remember this was 2019. I did my year-end awards, just because I always do, okay, what albums are the best, what songs are the best, what album surprised me the most. But then I always do some negative ones too, because if there's going to be good stuff in music, I've got to talk about the bad as well. And I end up my least favorite album from 2019 was Neo Theater by AJR. I could not stand it. However, when I put it up there as my album of the year choice, there were a lot of AJR fans that were going into the comments on Instagram just trying to like attack me, saying that I didn't know anything what I was talking about. I didn't understand their music and like I was completely wrong. I just simply asked them, why do you like their music? I said, I'm not going to get on yet. I just want to know why you really like the music and why you connect with it. Yeah. I still have some of these Instagram DM messages that are like, if I printed them out on paper, they'd be 7 pages long.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that.
And the best part about it was it wasn't them being mean at all. They just wanted to explain what they thought about the band, why they loved it. They were explaining their position. And after I read them, I messaged back, thank you guys for letting me know this. And while it doesn't change my opinion on the album, this should not change my take. Should not change your opinion on the band as well, because you connect them in a certain way. You really feel like yourself when you listen to their music. So by all means, please listen to their music. Please continue to listen to their music. That's all I wanted to know, especially when you guys are like saying I'm wrong. Like, okay, why do you think that? I don't need to have you say, oh, you're wrong because you're wrong. No, actually tell me why, so we can connect in a different way instead of just, oh, that person's like the same music that I do. No, I want to know why you like the music that you do, because why I like the music I do, there's probably going to be for the same reasons. It's just we connect with different sounds. That's it.
Exactly right. And that's what art is. I mean, it's in the eye of the beholder. So, yeah, I like discussing music and hearing things that I don't know about. I think that's a fun part of being around, especially like we practice at a place with about 30 different bands, and it's fun to walk down the hallway and go, okay, here's a punk band, here's a grunge band, here's a metal band, and going, God, that singer's great. Listen to that guitar player. Yeah, this drummer. Last night we had a drummer in the room next to us. It was killer.
Yeah, he was.
I wanted to open the door and go, who the hell is this? Yeah. But yeah, I love hearing other people's stuff. That's the fun thing about playing shows, that we don't, if we're on a bill with 4 bands, I don't know the other 3 bands to see, oh, let's see who's here to see them. Will they like us? You know, with their fans, I'll hear their music and go, hey, did their fans stick around and dig our show?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the fun of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say that's one of the major reasons why I got so into listening to Ice Nine Kills, because I wanted to go see a show. This is November of 2019. Went to go see a show here in Milwaukee, and the main reason I wanted to go see him was because Light the Torch was playing. I wanted to go see Howard Jones, and did they cut out again? Artists, we got the Lampshades that we've gone through, the YouTube channel. Yeah, the Kevin Figures Out series. Definitely, again, guys, check that out. Again, it's on the YouTube channel. You guys will find it. I did one on Diamante this year. I've done one on Spirit Box this year. Paris thing. You guys back?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. So, like I was saying, like, because you were talking about being at live shows and just seeing all the other bands, like, you don't know exactly what kind of style they're playing, and just seeing all the different fans that come in and see if those fans stick around for yours or if your fans stick around for theirs. It was the same thing when I went to go see a show in 2019 in November. Light the Torch was was like the second band going on. I wanted to see Howard Jones perform. That was my main reason for going.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll stick around for the headliner because I've heard 1 or 2 songs by them. And now that the headliner I saw that night is now my second favorite band of all time in Ice Nine Kills. Like, I just lost it completely. I'm just like, And that's why I think a lot of people miss live music as well, for a number of reasons. And one is just the fact that discovery of music, because there are certain bands that are on certain tours that I'm just looking, I'm like, it'd be kind of cool to check them out. I have no idea about them. I'll go back even into 2020. I remember in February, I bought a ticket because I was going to go see Hollywood Undead here in Milwaukee, and Hollywood Undead's one of my favorite bands as well. And I looked at who was opening for them. Like, it was them and Bad Wolves were supposed to be the 2 headliners. And then opening was Fire from the Gods and From Ashes to New. And I'm thinking, I don't know really I kind of know some Fire from the Gods. I don't really know From Ashes to New. It'd be nice to go see them play live just to see who they are. Yeah, I didn't get to go see them play live, but I definitely know who From Ashes to New are now, especially after what they did in 2020. I'm like, no, I could have known them. It's like, even if it wasn't for what happened in 2020, I still would have got to go see them live and been like, oh man, this is nuts.
Yeah. Well, Fu Manchu was a band that had been around forever, and I didn't know hardly anything about them. And then I saw them, and I was like, wow, how do I not love these guys already? And then I went back, and they had a catalog of, at that time, like 7 albums already. I'm like, this is just built in. This is awesome.
It's great when
I get that completely.
I'll say it's great that happens soon. I want to see what you guys think about this as well, because I'm always a huge proponent of this when it comes to live music. It's a real family setting, and people right now are really missing that family. Hell, there are people that I would go and see shows with every single weekend here in Milwaukee. I have no idea what their names are. I have no idea really what most of their backstory is, or who they are, really what their belief system is, anything about that. All I know is that they like the same music that I do, and when it comes time and that music starts, and we're in the mosh pit together, all hell breaks loose, and we have a great time. And at the end of it, everyone's high-fiving, hugging each other, giving each other handshakes, and like, see you at the next one. I haven't seen him in over a year. I miss these people.
Yeah, no doubt. It's like, hey, dude. Yeah. We miss that too. We miss that a lot, and especially just being around the other musicians.
Yeah.
Because that's half the fun, is meeting everyone that you're on the show with, and the competition of who's going to be best or who's going to connect with the audience better than the other guy. And that's kind of the fun of it. You know, like we'll be shoved in a room down in the basement of the bar with all our equipment, 4 bands all down there.
Oh yeah.
Drinking our Bud Light, you know,
and to load our stuff onto the stage.
And then that's some of the best conversations. Is I'll end up talking to a bass player from another band and talking about rigs or whatever, and then who knows where it goes. And yeah, I've made friends that way. A lot of them same way. Hey guy, hey dude, but you know what? We're friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's how I met Martin. Well, he reached out on Messenger to me through Facebook and started talking to me. And it was like 1 a.m. I'm sitting on this couch right here, and I'm like, who's this dude? And then he started asking questions about Malfunction and stuff that I'd done in the past, and really honestly listening to the answers. And so every night I started looking forward to, well, I hope Martin contacts me tonight. And then he was playing in a different band, and so was I. And we started putting our 2 bands together at shows, and it was going really well. And then my drummer said, hey, we need to play with Martin. And I'm like, yeah, give it a couple months. I'm going to make it happen. And sure enough, that's how it happened. So that's another, that's part of the community thing again.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And my God, Martin, Facebook Messenger is your bread and butter when it comes to connecting with people promoting music.
It is.
You figure out, I might take some more inspiration from this, because again, like I said, I've seen success from it as well for the podcast. I might just have to keep doing it just to see what else happens, because hell, you never know. But again, the worst thing you can do is just not try it at all, because then the answer is a definite no, because they have no idea that you're even out there or asking the question.
Well, it's like the modern day mailing service when you're, sending stuff out to the record label A&Rs and trying to get them to hear your stuff, or like that's how I became acquainted with Brian Paul and Attila Chaco was through Messenger. From Maverick Clothing Company. Got to give a shout out to them. Awesome clothes. But they Messenger, man.
Yeah, Martin Messenger. That's your middle name now.
The Messenger Man.
Get a T-shirt with that or something. Make some MTR merch that just has the Messenger Man on the back of it.
It might happen. It really might happen.
I could easily see that happening too. I mean, tell Brian to make something like that for you guys, or incorporate that.
Make sure to get you the shirt.
Yes.
We got one coming to Milwaukee.
Yes. I will wear that on the podcast easily. There's been a couple of times where bands I've either actually had stuff sent to me from bands, or I've actually ordered stuff. There's one time I actually ordered a sweatshirt on the podcast that a band was on. That was just ridiculous. And it looks like we're back to the pause in the promotion right now. So MVK Music Group, we'll plug them as well, because they're the one helping out with this stuff. So Brian, love you, man. Yeah, check out MVK Music Group and all the other good stuff they do. You guys back? I was just doing a little plug for Brian and MVK right there, just because I thought.
Hey, very nice.
But Martin, as you got connected with them in that way, that's how I actually got connected with Brian over Facebook as well, because I was I'm randomly friends with a bunch of people on Facebook I've never met before.
Yeah, me too.
However, he posted something. It was like, "Are there any people on here that do podcasts for rock musicians?" And I just thought, you know what? I'll just throw my hat into the ring and see what happens. And I think from the MVK connection, with MTR Project, I want to say you're band number 9 that I've done.
Oh, good connection.
With them.
That's awesome.
With about like let me pull my little Excel sheet right now with 1, 2. I've got 2 still on the docket, and I've got like 2 more still waiting. I'm still waiting on.
Well, we're glad to be here. I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad to have you guys here as well with my professional voice now.
Now I got to hear your promo voice.
Yeah.
Oh no, my promo voice is basically just my normal voice, just me trying to talk a little bit quicker and then potentially throwing a joke in there. I take all my promotional inspiration from listening to Bill Burr's podcast. I don't have any good jingles to come up with like the Me Undies one, so if I did have some advertising like that, I probably would try and come up with something like that instead of just read it straight off a script, because who wants me to read straight off a script? Like, let me just ad lib. I'll have some fun with it.
Yeah, you're a communicator. That's what you do.
That's right.
And that is the plan. And one thing I do want to talk to you guys about is because you guys were talking about how, again, with the EP come up, but also working on this new album, which will be probably your debut album, because, again, EP, then full album, debut album.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, fireworks, crowd going. All that good kind of stuff. So, I was going to say, when it comes to this album, what are we going to be exactly somewhat expecting? I mean, not full on like, oh, this is exactly what it's going to sound like. You know, give me a little bit, but don't give me too much. Kind of like a little bit of a teaser right there.
Go ahead, Martin. Tease him.
Sure. Here, let me grab my guitar, dude. That's the best way to do it. Hold on.
Oh, okay. This is definitely going to be a first then, and I am super excited for this.
How much have you got? Can I ask to borrow some of your time? I've lived a long life. I've punched my card more than once or twice. Probably more than anyone I've ever met in my life. Yeah! If I fall down, I pick myself up again. I pick myself up again. I'll be alright. If I fall down, I pick myself up again. I pick myself up again. I'll be alright. If I fall down, pick myself up again. I'll pick myself up again. I'll be alright.
Yeah. That was, oh my God. I have never had someone actually play anything live on the podcast before. This is a first, and this is something I'm never going to forget. Holy crap.
And this day, I love sitting next to Martin when he sings. It blows my mind every time. It's dangerous being in a small room with him.
Oh God, yeah. I was just taking a look at on the mix, just seeing like with the vocals when he was singing. There was some points where all of a sudden just as big as you could possibly get it. Like there's gonna be no room for any space going there. I'm just like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna touch that piece of this. Like this is gonna stay on here just as raw as it is, because people need to hear this in its entirety and hear it just as raw as possible to really understand the emotion that's trying to come out of that song, especially just connecting with the lyrics that you're singing as well, especially the ones that could easily make out. My God, that was awesome.
Thank you, man. That's gonna be that's an Andy Beach riff. Our guitar player brought that to us, and I connected immediately. He started singing, or he started playing that, and his fiance Becky was there, and she had her phone, and I said, "Oh man, just go ahead and push record," and I just started singing. That what you heard there was identical to what I sang the first time. There was no thinking involved with the writing of any of it. It just poured out, man. It was really strange.
Then no wonder why it just sounded just so. I was gonna say no wonder why it just sounded so natural, just coming from you, just hearing it right then and there. If that was the first thing you thought of, like not instrumentally, vocally, did I lose you guys again? Alrighty, well, for everyone listening, if you just heard that, please make sure you go to Spotify, Apple Music, whatever it is that you have for streaming services, and follow MTR Project. Again, the link will be in the description for the podcast for that, so you guys will be able to hear that right when it drops, whenever it does. So you're going to want to make sure you're following that. Again, just keeping the plug going. This time it was exactly for you guys, because after hearing music live, I mean, come on. How can I not plug your music right then and there and tell people? I'm going to have the links for all their music stuff, Spotify music, whatever I can find in the description. So you guys can go follow it right then and there. So
we love that. So that's we got about, that was one of the 6 songs we were working on last night, and probably 5 of them will make the album. And then combined with the 6 that we got on there now on the EP.
Well, that one better make the album.
Yeah, we were awesome. Laughing about, we didn't know which direction things were going, and then songs just started coming out
just like that. And there's I can't keep up with our guitar player in terms of how fast he's writing and bringing stuff to us. I mean, I've got a lot of the same sounding stuff, so it's totally welcome. I mean, if I had it my way, you guys would get one long sounding album. It would sound like one long continuous song, right? So the fact we got Andy writing for us too is just it ups the game big time. It made it so that I didn't have to put so much thought into it, and I could actually just start feeling, So that's what I hope translated out. Like, I couldn't explain it. You're asking, and I was like, I don't even know, man, because it's in a completely different direction than the best we could say is it's going to sound like a continuation of what we were doing with opposing voices.
Yeah.
Okay, that totally makes sense. And one other thing I have to ask about the song that you just played, Martin, is when it comes to the guitar, is that going to be sung on an acoustic guitar like you sung it with, or is it going to be electric?
I'll play on the acoustic. That's the acoustic guitar that Andy Beach made for me. That's a MTR signature guitar, and he's going to be playing on a Devil neck that he just built for the project. It's a 12-string, 6-string Devil neck. Beautiful guitar. It's made of a single piece, man. Both necks were made of a single piece of wood. It was one of the most impressive guitars I've ever seen in my.
It was the first time for us playing with him last night while I was playing this Double neck, and it's so nice. Strange to hear that 12-string beautiful, and then he whips to the lead, and it's like, oh, there's Andy again.
Yeah, because he's got that bottom neck. Oh man, I'm telling you, it's something. And so when you got, the luthier Prince guitar, the guitars that like the one that you saw Prince take to the stage for the Super Bowl, the purple cymbal guitar, Andy Beach made that. That was his craftsmanship.
That was one of, 27 that he made for him?
32.
32?
He made 32 guitars for Prince.
And he was the one that made the Super Bowl halftime show Prince emblem guitar.
Yeah. Well, and so he didn't even know that Prince was going to play that guitar, and so he was waiting for it, and sure enough, here Prince comes out with that one, and I think it made his Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that made his night.
Well, put it this way, Andy can hang his hat on the fact that he made the guitar that was played at the best Super Bowl halftime show of all time.
Right, exactly, yes.
I think that too. Yeah, that's my opinion.
I've seen a bunch of lists. It's just like they always have like something else ranked number one. I'm like Prince number two. I'm like no.
At the top, man.
It's not even close.
No, because I was trying to think when I was. Because I'm trying to think, that would have been 2005, so I'd have been 10 years old when that Super Bowl was played, and I still remember watching that halftime show. I'm like, this was the best halftime show that I'd seen up to that point, again, I'm watching halftime shows from people that my parents really listened to when they were younger.
Yeah,
like, I'm a kid. I'm watching, like, this is good.
Yeah. Oh, it was great, wasn't it?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. We had Alice in Chains play at the NFC Championship in Seattle, and at halftime,
that's awesome.
you like this. That was the year we beat the Packers. And so the Packers dominated the first half, but and Allison Chain said, "This is going to be the greatest comeback in Seahawks history," and the place went nuts. And sure enough, it happened. And I ran into Jerry Cantrell after the game down on the field. And I was like, "Hey, yeah, William predicted that comeback," and he said, "What?" Oh yeah, that big roar. That was because he said the Seahawks were going to come back and win. He's like, "Oh, I was fucking with my guitar, man." I'm like, "Okay, Jerry."
Well, Dave, I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret that you might be able to take and really make you smile to heart as well. So every time that championship game is brought up here in Wisconsin, people still get very, very, very angry about it.
Oh, I get it.
So I bring it up all the time.
Of course. Yeah, it was one of my best friends was the punter of the Seahawks at the time, John Ryan, and he, on a fake field goal in that game, he threw a touchdown pass. So afterwards, that night, that we were celebrating and going to the Super Bowl, and so I go over to John's house, and he's got champagne flowing, and it's going on, and it's like 3 a.m, and I see this football just comes firing at me, and I catch it, and I'm like, "What was that's the ball?" And I go, "What ball?" And he goes, "The ball I threw the touchdown pass with." I was like, "Oh man, how cool is this?"
Oh my.
No.
It looks like I accidentally lost him. That'd have been for everyone listening, that would have been the 2014 NFC title game when the Seahawks take the field goal and John Ryan threw it. I think that was their first touchdown of the game. Or their second. I don't really remember exactly what it was, and the Seahawks won that game. So all the Packer fans here in Milwaukee, all my friends that are listening to this.
Dang.
So the freeze of you look handsome and nice. I don't know what's happening to me.
You get a freeze frame and you just look like,
$1 million.
Yeah.
The hell.
And I get a freeze frame and you guys just like.
Yeah.
But I got another nice little promo in there, and also a shot at my Packer fan friends. So
good.
So I think you'll be happy about that.
It might be their year.
I kind of hope not, due to the fact that I don't want to have to hear it from everybody.
Oh, I get that too.
Well, we'll see. Honestly, when it comes to that, we'll see what happens, though, given the fact that in the AFC, like with Buffalo and the Chiefs, it's going to be real tough to get past one of those two.
Oh, I think it's the AFC's year. I think you're right.
We'll see what happens. However, the one thing that the Packers don't have is a band member who's built 32 guitars for Prince. And, well, looks like we've had the freeze from again. But this time, hey, look at them. They look a lot more presentable than the last time. Well, I'm probably just like, hey. So we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, so let's see what else can we plug for these guys. Oh, yeah, when it comes to finding them online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I'm going to have that on there for you as well in the description so you guys can check that out. As I said, that time on the free stream, you guys actually looked pretty good.
Okay, very good. I feel better.
and then just did the plug for your socials as well. So instead of doing all the plugs at the end, I'm actually kind of sprinkling them in there now with the freeze frame. So this is actually kind of awesome.
Yeah, you're professional. And way to go.
Just go with the flow. That's all it is.
That's it. When it's live, you go.
Yeah, when it's live, you just got to work with it. It's just, anything can happen at any given point, and you got to just work with it. You can't just be like, "Oh my God, this isn't working. What the heck is going on?" It's like, I'm trying to think of it. It's like being up on stage and all of a sudden a mic doesn't work. You got to improvise.
That's what I was going to go with. Right. It's more likely that Martin's guitar's out of tune.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just got to tune it on the fly.
Yep. Both him and Andy have great ears, so it gets fixed fairly quickly, but it cracks me up every time. I'm like, all right, we're tuning up at high volume here.
It's like, already, shoot! Can you guys get it right next time?
I like that song.
No.
I always introduce it. I say, all right, well, the next song's the tuning song, and I make them hear it too.
He'll put lyrics to it shortly.
Yeah, but then again, the key to that is the fact that you understand that that's going to happen at some points, and you just roll with it. That's going to be something that really sets you apart in a live setting over every other band. Because I still remember, again, I got to throw back to, I think it's 2013 or 2014, Summerfest here in Milwaukee. My best friend and I, we're just hopping around, going to see a couple of different artists. There were no artists of like the hard rock, heavy metal, punk rock, metalcore sense that were playing that night. It was who he wanted to go see. So I'm like, okay, I want to go. They went to go see Modest Yahoo, and there were some technical issues. And him and I left after about 25 minutes because all that was happening was just Modest Yahoo up on stage, just constantly complaining about everything that was going on. And it just creating this negative experience for the fans. And my thought process was, who the heck wants to stay around there when all you're going to be doing is yelling at the sound guys? And I mean, there's something probably happened. Stuff happens. When you're in a live setting, you just got to roll with it. You got to see what happens. And then we went to see somebody else who I don't even remember what her name was, but it was, I don't know, it had some weird like hippie vibe to it that totally fits my best friend. So him and I were having a blast at the works. I'm like, okay, we're just going to lean right into this bad boy. But it was something where we walked away from, we're like, I thought, you know what? I'd actually go and see this artist. I forgot who she was, with my buddy again, because we actually enjoyed it. Would I ever go and see Modest Yahoo again? Probably not, because I know how he acts when things don't go perfectly.
Right. Yeah. Well, and we discussed that those are the moments that you remember. You never remember when it all goes perfectly, but when you overcome some monumental electronic foul up or
big time,
or the fire alarm goes off in the middle of the show. Yeah. Oh, we were just getting to the heavy part of the set. Now everyone's standing in the street watching firemen go into the club. And then they're like, all right, everyone back in. You guys are back on. Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right, we got to amp this crowd right back up again because they were just outside in the cold during a fire alarm. Alrighty, let's go do this again.
Yeah.
When I played punk rock, that we liked to go on first because the fire marshal shut down the show about half the time. So if you played first, you were likely to get your set in.
I was going to say, that is definitely something that does speak to that you said, Dave, which is just when everything goes perfectly, even as fans, you don't really remember. You remember the time when things either go crazy, either are insane, or things just don't go how they're planned. And maybe by that, it's like, I still remember shows where people all of a sudden are going to jump into the crowd. I remember the shows that are absolutely ridiculous. So if you put on a perfect quality show that's like absolute 100% to perfection, I'm going to remember that because of how much I enjoyed myself during it. However, when I talk about certain stories with shows, I'm always talking about how I got hurt. I'm talking about when the band jumps into the crowd and things might not go right, how when someone gets hit in the mosh pit. Or one of my favorites was, again, I go back to Summerfest. This is 2019. I was seeing August Burns Red. And in front of the stage, they have all these metal benches for people to like to sit on, but then everyone stands on them. But of course, if you're gonna get any sort of hard rock, heavy metal, punk rock, whatever it might be, people are gonna want to mosh. And there is no room to. So everyone was getting mad to the point where like, okay, what the heck are we supposed to do? August Burns Red was pulling a lot of energy up on stage. So people on the other side of the stage, because there's a barrier in the middle, they just thought, let's pick up the benches. Let's flip them over.
I was gonna say they're passing the benches.
And now there's room. And all of a sudden, we on our side, we're like, shit, we're going to do this too. So we did it as well. They had like maybe 6 security guards like standing around the stage for that show. All of a sudden, you see this influx of people come in to try and get these benches down. They're like, it's a hazard, it's a hazard. I even told one of the security guards, I'm like, no, it's a hazard if you let them down because we're not going to stop doing this.
Right.
But we're going to have benches over the fact where people are going to end up falling over. I'm like, I almost tore my ACL 7 times in that one show because people kept pushing me. I kept falling backwards. My knee kept getting caught. How I didn't bust my knee how I didn't bust my knee during that show is preposterous. However, I'm like, if you leave the benches up, now we have a dedicated space to the point where if people are going to be hitting each other, yeah, it's going to happen. People are going to fall on the concrete, yeah, it's going to happen. But there are they're like undisclosed rules where if people fall down, there's gonna be like if one person knocks somebody down, there's like 10 people there picking this person back up. If someone's hurt, we're gonna form a little bubble around them so that we know if they can get up or not. And if they can't, then we're gonna go get them help. If they can get up, we're gonna help them up. We're gonna get them going again. That's just the way it is. And it looks like we got down to the point where you can't really see the frozen side again. At least Martin looks good on this one. Dave kind of looked at me like, eh. But also, when it comes to find them on YouTube, I'll include their link to their YouTube page as well so that you can listen to them there and check out any videos that they have coming up. Again, back to the promo during the freeze frame. Woo!
Yeah, we like that when we heard you.
But yeah, basically what we were going off on again was just the fact that when things go wrong or when things just go not according to plan, those are the things that people remember, especially in a live setting. And if you can turn them into a positive, that's going to do so much more for your band than anything else is going to do because it's going to have the fans have this positive memory of your band, not only in a live setting, but when they talk about crazy stories and they think about their favorite shows, that's the moments that's going to stick out to them. It's going to be the moments where things didn't go right, but then you made them go right.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I've had some pretty bad train wrecks too, where things just didn't go right at all, man. I mean, everybody, we show up to an all ages venue to go play for a Halloween thing, and I look over at one of my and this is a previous band. I look at one of my bandmates, and they're wearing see-through lingerie in front of a little kid.
There's kids there.
I was there. This isn't what I had imagined. I'm wearing a Spider-Man freaking costume, and my bass player was wearing very, very provocative lingerie, and there's this mom sitting there shaking her newborn going, oh my God, I swear it was priceless. I'll never forget her face. Ever.
See, at that point, what you probably needed to do at that given moment was, if you had any sort of intro music come out on stage too, it should have been Time Warp, so you could really get that Rocky Horror Picture Show vibe going.
That was the outfit for sure.
Big time.
See again, imagine if you would have done something like that. It's even the mom that would have been holding it, maybe been freaked out about. If you would have done that, she would have remembered that as just like, okay, I was freaked out by it. Then I saw them come out to that, and it was just hilarious because
it was hilarious.
See, then I was still pretty new, and so I didn't know. Like, I was very impressed. Like, literally, I was a perfectionist, right? Like, but I didn't let the crowd know that. I would just like crumble inside. My face would turn big red, and I'm like, "It's a train wreck!" The worst part was when I picked up my guitar at that show, and I had let the guitar player from the band before me play it, and he put it into some crazy tuning. Right? It was like D sharp, G sharp, G sharp, B sharp, E sharp. I'm not kidding. Well, if you guys are guitar players, it's crazy. And so, but I didn't play. I didn't have to play that guitar until like halfway through the song, right?
Halfway through the set.
Halfway through.
He picks it up.
and so I've got my bass players playing his bass line. He's all boom, boom, and it's just this cool thing. But even he like he accidentally put this crazy delay on it, right? That wasn't supposed to be there. Way slower now. And I was just like, wow, this train wreck's getting worse. And then I went to play my guitar, and it was in like some crazy tuning, and it just sounded so bad. I can't explain how bad. And like, I had my friend Chris Wilcox, I just did a podcast with him yesterday. He was sitting in front of the stage. He was expecting this great show, and I just remember seeing the look of horror. Oh my God, I'm seeing a train wreck right now. So yeah.
That place, it was a pizza joint that had a great stage, great place to play, but they'd give you 2 free pizzas when you played there. But we played there and made the mistake of eating the pizzas first. So we go out there, and I was like, I really want to take a nap right now. You're on, go.
Yeah, you're on, go. No thanks, I'm just going to lie down right here.
I'm full, man.
But that was one of the many casualty venues here in the pandemic. That one's gone.
That one hit hard too for in my opinion, in the Pierce County, which is like Tacoma 5. It was the best venue, like the best stage, the coolest staff.
Yeah.
And
Louis G's, Louis G's, and the sound man Chris Peterson. He was the best sound man, and he had his stage dialed in. You'd literally go up there, and everything, even out of the monitors, it still sounded good. And we're gonna miss that place, along with almost every week I'm hearing about another place where we were either scheduled to play or played that is gone. So I'm really interested to see what happens when we get into the roaring 20s here.
Yeah, I mean, I would say here we're seeing the same thing too, where it seems like every couple of weeks or something, especially here in Milwaukee, it's like, okay, here's one venue that had a stage that was doing live music, or even like stand-up comedy for that matter, is going down because the owners had to shut down because of the pandemic. Or there's been a couple of times where it's like the place were doing okay somehow. However, just the landlord decided just like, oh yeah, we're not going to let you renew your lease. And it's just, okay, now these venues can become something completely different. And well, don't get me wrong, it could be something that gets even better. The biggest issue could be, hey, we could lose out on these venues forever. And now with that freeze frame, please support your local venues, everybody. We want to make sure that these venues stay afloat. I know with Save Our Stages, they were doing a great thing with that, but keep to support them. Heck, even with that Barstool, like small business fund, let's even get some of those small venues on that small business fund from Barstool to really get them back going up again. Because small venues, that's where all these artists were found. That's where all of them were getting going. So again, taking the promo during the freeze frame. Oh yeah, for Save Our Stages. Because right now, for me, from my perspective, especially here in Milwaukee, there are really two venues that have like the real near and dear place in my heart. One's called X-Ray Arcade, where it's a smaller venue, but it has a lot more of these like especially heavier acts like punk rock.
Yeah, I've heard of that place. Yeah.
So it's like, and that one is still going okay. But of course, the big one here is the Rave, and they're trying to still make money any way they can by selling like signed posters from different concerts they've had over the past 30 years. They had these two giant tapestries hanging above two of the stairwells. One had all the dates that Manson ever performed there with, like, it was, I mean, this thing was huge. They had another one with Jack White, and they auctioned each of them off, and I think each of them fetched like $3,000.
Oh, so that's fantastic.
So they're trying to do as much as they can. I mean, even I end up getting one of their posters. So, yeah, we pull the can. Yeah, right there. Sign Rise Against poster.
Cool. That's a good one, too.
And that was one where I put in a bid. I completely forgot about it. And then 3 days later, I'm like, oh, shoot, I should have checked that. I checked my email. Hey, you won, but you didn't pay yet. 5 minutes later, it's just like, hey, we're shipping it out to you.
Give us the money.
Yeah, but basically where it's just coming from that is it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, because with the pandemic just continuing going on, yes, the vaccine is out there. However, in certain places in the country, especially here in Wisconsin, the rollout is incredibly slow right now. So we all want to get back to live music due to the fact that, like we were talking about earlier, it's a family vibe. It's something that we live for. It's something that we really enjoy going to. It's something that when we go there, nothing else matters except for the fact that there's a band on stage that everyone in the crowd wants to listen to, that we all like, that we all have a positive connection with between us and the band, the fans. And it's just a whole family vibe. And especially during tumultuous times that we're going through right now, what's needed more than live music? Because it's a time for people to come together and just enjoy being together without any preconceived notion, except for the fact that we're all here to enjoy music one way or another. Whether you're going to enjoy it the one way, or whether I'm going to enjoy it one way and like connect with it a certain way, all that matters is we're connecting with it and for the positive, and that's going to make us be friends for the whole entire night.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree. What do you think is going to happen next when it comes back? Do you think there'll be new venues? Do you think there'll be the other ones resurgent of the old ones? How do you think it's going to come out?
Ooh, I love the questions. I've actually spoke about this a little bit and thought about this a lot. So at first, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see a major supply and demand issue in terms of shows, because, and this is going to go with the supply of stages versus the overall demand of bands, because everyone's been on the shelf for about over a year at this point. So every band that's possibly going to be out there is going to want to go out and tour and want to go out and play live. That's what's going to happen. So overall demand is going to increase. However, stages are being, or live music venues and stages are being shut down because they're not being financially viable during the pandemic. And yes, even during the last stimulus package, the government finally put in for the Save Our Stage Act, which is $15 billion for live music venues. However, this should have been done back in April, not in December, which I have gone on a rant about before, and it's on our IGTV channel as well. So if you got to check that out, the rant is all there.
I like it.
And I did a whole video on it too for my 2021 preview, like what can we expect? And it's just, the biggest issue is going to be is there's going to be a lot of those bigger bands that have a lot more pull that are going to be able to go and play at a bunch of these stages, even if they're smaller, because the stages are going to have the limited amount of time. It's not the fact that bands are going to be competing with each other just because, oh, we're better than you. It's just bands are going to be competing for that stage time because everyone wants it. So who's going to be able to get it? However, over time, we'll give it like a year or so after live music returns. I think we're going to see things start to come back to normal. I think we're going to start seeing those stages pop up again, and even other venues as well as even other places as well that have potential for live music are going to building stages into building something like this so that they can cash in on it. So at first, it's going to be great when it comes back. However, the competition just to get on that stage is going to be tough due to the fact that everyone wants to get on at the exact same time. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. However, I think, again, from a fan standpoint, it's going to be great to see all these bands coming in. However, getting tickets as well, because everyone wants to go out and see these bands, is going to be tough, or the ticket prices are going to increase. We're going to definitely be in for an adjustment period for the first year and a half maybe. However, if we can all just get back to the point where we're having live music being performed, we're getting people on stage. If we can get back to that, then that adjustment period can start. Because right now we're just sitting and waiting.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that I worry about is historic stages going away and never coming back during this.
Oh, yeah.
Seattle had only a few left, and they're all being threatened right now. Right now our city's going through massive development. So everyone, if your club is one level on a block, they want to take that block and put something high rise on it. And one venue that I love here is called the Off Ramp, or El Corazon now, but it was the Off Ramp for years. And, everyone from Hendrix played there. I saw Pearl Jam's first show there with Alice in Chains opening. Just a great small, like 800 people in there type venue. Still has poles in the middle of the stage. That's how old it is. The green room's a coat closet. So, I love that venue.
And it looks like we got that quick freeze frame. But yeah, I'm going to keep plugging the support your local venues thing, man, because holy crap, we really need to keep these venues supported. We want to make sure that live music comes back. And when it comes back, that all these bands have a chance to get on stage. So whatever you can do to support your live music venues, please do. I know here in Milwaukee with the Rave, they're trying to sell t-shirts and everything for Bring Back Live Music. So whatever you can do to support your live stages right now, please do. That's, again, the plug during the pause.
Yeah, and I think those t-shirt sales, people scoff at it, but $30 here and there, that's a pretty big profit. That's $25 profit on those shirts. So that money helps. So, and you get cool shirts. I've got a bunch that I was like, taverns they're selling a shirt to save their stage, and I'm like, shit, next time I play Tim's Tavern, man, I got one of their shirts now.
Yeah.
So it's really worthwhile to even the small donations, because they add up fast.
Yeah, because even like I'll bring up the Rave as well over Halloween, because the venue is supposedly haunted. They did this thing where it's like, okay, we're going to let people in. We're going to sell tickets. I think it was like $40 or $50 a piece, depending upon what day you went. And you could go explore the whole entire venue. All the lights are turned off. All you have is a flashlight, and go nuts.
That is awesome. Because if you've ever been in a venue with the lights off and just holding your lighter up or a flashlight, it's scary to begin with.
Oh, once I saw it was available, I texted one of my friends. I'm like, hey, we should go to this. And she just said, all right, here's the days I can go and do this. Just pick whatever day works for you. And I'm like, okay, we're going the day before Halloween. Let's do this. And it was awesome because because it was an old Eagles club, so it was like an old like social health club. They have their main stage is a ballroom, so you still have that. It is a historic building, even though the venue's only been a music venue for about 30 years. But they have this old pool that a kid died in back. I don't remember what year it was. But I kept trying to find the pool area the whole entire time. Like, I want to find this pool so damn bad because I know it's here somewhere. And I'm walking down this hall. I'm like, okay, let's just go open this door. And all of a sudden, there I am in the pool. It's like, yes.
Yeah.
And all the bands that have ever played there, they've all signed the where the pool is. Either they've signed it in the pool, along the wall, and everything. There's a big one that just says Mac Miller is dead, and he wrote that up there the last time he performed there. So I'm like, holy crap. And of course, there's me the whole entire time with a flashlight, not looking at all like the cool ones. I'm trying to find signatures from shows that I had been to.
Right.
The whole entire time. And I'm looking, they're all like, some of them are really small, some are really big. Like, I can't find one. All of a sudden, I'm finding my way up to the exit because there's an exit way up top that gets me out a little bit to basically right back to the beginning a lot easier. I'm like, dang, I really want to find this like one that I was at. All of a sudden, my friend, she says, hey, I found one. I turn around. big giant Ice Nine Kills one right above the pool balcony.
And I
had my shirt on that I bought at that show. So I'm like, yep, get a picture of this one.
What a great night.
It was, but when it comes down to it, really, please, for everyone that's listening to this, so many stages right now are being threatened or are in dire need of our help so that when live music does come back, the live music that we absolutely love, that we want to see, and that we want to hear, and that these bands want to get up and play for us, these venues are in danger right now or in dire straits of potentially closing. So if there is any sort of way that you can help them out, whether it's if they're selling t-shirts to try and get more for them, just to help them get more funds, please, please, please go get one. And then when live shows return and they're able to start having live shows, first show you go to, wear that t-shirt, because you never know. You might get a big thank you. They might give you some free tickets for another show. Hell, you might be like crowd surfing. Everyone's going to be like, that guy is the guy. You want to be that guy. So whatever you can do to support them, please do, because they have meant so much to us in the past, whether you performed on them, whether you've just seen a show there, or whether you love live music and you want to make sure that that experience is had once again, not only for future generations, but also for yourself following the pandemic. Please, please, please support your live stages. Please support your live venues. And also, please support MTR Project wherever you might be. I know during the promos, like between the little freeze frames, I did plug all their stuff as well. However, again, when it comes to finding them on social media, finding them on YouTube, wherever you can find them and stream their music, I'm going to have everything in the description for you in the podcast, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeart Radio, YouTube, everything's going to be there. So when it comes to finding MTR Project, getting into them, and also just becoming a fan of them, I'm not going to let you forget it. I'm not going to make it hard on you. I'm going to make it as convenient as possible. So yeah, go follow them, go listen to them, go stream them right after we're done here.
We appreciate that. Thank you, Kevin.
Well, thanks for being on, guys, because we're right about that hour and a half time. So I wanted just to kind of wrap it there. However, talking about the music, talking about Martin, what you went through, and also going through some other things with music, hearing you play live on the podcast, the first time I ever had someone play live on the podcast, absolutely extraordinary. I absolutely love the way that song felt, especially hearing how the acoustic guitar really brings out the emotion, especially in your voice, to amplify it. Keep it exactly that way it is. However, again, you're talking to some guy who is doing a podcast, I wouldn't say interviewing you guys, having a conversation with you guys. So you can always take that with a grain of salt as is. But in my opinion, I think you're on the right track with that song.
Well, that means a lot to me, Kevin, because I've also heard you give a not so favorable opinion of other musicians and bands, and so for you to give me a favorable one, I receive it that much more.
We like it when people tell it like it is too.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys, and I love it the same way as well.
I think you're right. We're going to keep it very similar to what I played here. We went in last night and
the freeze frame happened again, but yeah. So we did the live venues plug. We did the promo plug for the band. We did multiple of those. We did some of them for me. But Chord Progression Podcast. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube or onto the MSOD Rocks YouTube page. Or if you're going to find Chord Progression Podcast on audio, just find Spotify Podcast, Google Play, iHeart Radio. Again, quick little plug for what hopefully is the last freeze frame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The new stuff we're actually going to try and record in Andy's workshop. His lower floor of his house is where DeHatry guitars is made. They're all made there, and so he put a drum set in there, and it sounded incredible. So we're gonna do somewhat of a mobile recording for this next one, and it should be interesting. It'll be a lot of us, a lot of flavor from who we are.
I think that's what we have to hope for, and that's what would be the best thing possible, is just put as much of yourself in the music as you can, because that's what's going to create the greatest sound.
That's what we're thinking too, and we've noticed the vibe that we have together. I mean, it sounds cliche, but the first time we started playing together, we all looked at each other and said, "Yeah, dude, this is good." Yeah. So we're just trying to continue that.
Never lose that vibe, never lose that feel, and keep playing the music that you are, and keep writing the music that you want to write, because it has a lot of substance behind it. It has a lot of emotion behind it. It has the feeling that you need to evoke in order for people to really understand, Martin, especially on the EP, what you went through, and even relate to themselves in order to find a way to, in a sense, I got to pull out what the Ghost Side said, triumph over tragedy, and then hit with a massive breakdown, just go, just
Yeah.
Right.
In my mind, at least, I listen to that song like once, usually every day when I'm in the gym.
That's a good one to have. Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. So as we close this out, Martin and Dave, do you have any final words you would like to say? I would like to give you guys the last chance to say anything before I close this out and also then ramble on in a intro and outro kind of style.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brian, Paul, and Maverick Apparel for bringing this connection and introducing us with Kevin. This is if you guys have not seen any of Maverick Apparel's clothing, I do suggest checking it out. They have a website, they've got social media, Facebook, and they're everywhere. And they actually just released a few new shirts. I think that probably my favorite one is it's like a samurai looking deal, but yeah, very cool stuff. And yeah, super grateful for that. Also, we look forward to getting out there and playing for people, man, as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Let's be good to each other and make it so that it is possible, though. That's the key, is work together. We is greater than me. That's one of the things that we push so much, is that we together can accomplish a lot more than what I can do alone. So
Exactly. And I want to thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you having us on. This has been a blast. I felt like we just had a third guy in the living room the whole time. This is fantastic.
That's always how I want it to be, and every time I hear someone say that, I'm absolutely thrilled. So thank you guys for being on the podcast. Martin, I think you said it best. The we is greater than the me, so that what we can do in order to make sure that bands get back playing live and we can all enjoy live music again, let's make that happen. When it comes to Maverick Apparel, I'll include the link in the description as well so everyone can check out those shirts. Awesome. And as we close this out, Martin and Dave, I never like to end with a goodbye due to the fact that seems like, okay, that's the last time we're going to see each other, talk to each other, that's it. No, screw that. I would love to have you guys back in the podcast. I'd love to see you guys play live. So in all good conscience, I cannot end this podcast with a goodbye. I have to end it with what I always end it with. See you later.
All right, rock on. Thank you.
Rock on,
see you
guys.
later, Kim.
Whoa, folks, I'm interview with Dave and Martin from the band MTR Project out of Seattle, Washington. And that one was, again, this is the best way to describe it. I love having these podcasts where it sounds like we're all a bunch of guys or girls just talking in a living room together, just having a blast, even though this is our first time ever talking. I absolutely love it. And I love the fact you guys get to know these bands on a completely different level. Also, the fact that Martin played live for us, the first time that's ever happened on this podcast, I'm absolutely thrilled and blown away by it. And that will make you want to listen to more of their music. So again, when it comes to finding them online, wherever you can, stream them. All the links will be in the description of the podcast. YouTube, Spotify, Podcast, Google Play, iHeart Radio. So you can just have a one-stop shop and find them from there. And on that note, that's going to be for me today, guys. Thank you for watching and listening to the Chord Progression Podcast, but the MSOTD rocks where rock and metal thrive. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes with the big, healthy, and hearty see ya! Yeah!